So tonight we're starting Ma Tovu, and the psukim of Ma Tovu, it's 5 different psukim from 5 different places. In the Oitzerat Tefillah Siddur, in the Pirush Tikun Tefillah, he says, Nusach murkav mi psukim nifradim. This is a conglomeration of different psukim. Ve'inyanoi netilas rishus lamoid b'makayim hektish lehispalo. That we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu rishus as we start the tefillah to come into the Beis Knesses to daven. This sets the tone and the mood for the entrance into the tefillah. And the first pasuk we say is Ma Tovu oy halecha Yaakov, pasuk in Parshas Balak, Parachav Daled, pasuk Hey. Ma Tovu, how good are your tents, Yaakov? Mishkanaisecha Yisrael, as if to say Ma Tovu Mishkanaisecha Yisrael, that the Mishkanaisecha, the dwelling places of Yisrael, that's also good. Now the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Kuf Hey Amid Beis, says that Bilam said this pasuk, he wanted to say to Klal Yisrael, Shelo Yehu Lahem Batei Knesiyos Ubatei Midrashes, that there shouldn't be davening places, there shouldn't be places of Limud Torah. And it was Nepach Lebracha, and he said, Ma Tovu Oyalecha Yaakov. He wanted to say, Loi Tishre Shchina Aleichem, that there shouldn't be Hashras Hashchina. And therefore it was Nepach Lebracha that it says Mishkanaisecha Yisrael. So because these psukim were Nepach Lebracha and they're talking about the Oyhalim, the place of Batei Knesiyos and Batei Midrashes, and Mishkanaisecha, a place of Hashras Hashchina, which is again the places that Klal Yisrael davens and learns. Therefore we say this pasuk as we enter the Beis HaKnesses, as we come into the shul every morning, and we say Ma Tovu Oyalecha Yaakov Mishkanaisecha Yisrael. This was an old minig to say it even in the times of the Goinim. There's a Siddur, the first Siddur, one of the first Siddurim that's called the Seder of Amram Goin, and in the Seder of Amram Goin it says Hanichnas lebeis hakneses oimer ma toivu oyalecha Yaakov. It almost sounds like you only say ma toivu if you come to shul. If someone has a reason that they have to daven at home, so there's no point to say ma toivu oyalecha Yaakov. You're not coming into the oyel Yaakov Mishkanaisecha Yisrael. The pashtus is that became the nusach hatfila, and we say it even if a person has to daven biyachidus, daven not in the Beis HaKnesses and Beis Medrash. But Al Kalpanim, the reason that we say Ma Tovu is surely because that's the appropriate entrance to the Beis HaKnesses, to the Beis Medrash, when we say how beautiful are the Oyhalim, the Batei Knesiyos and Batei Midrashes of Klal Yisrael, Mishkanaisecha Yisrael, the places that Klal Yisrael has designated for Hashras Hashchina. There's a fascinating tshuva of the Marshal, a very mechudishtik tshuva. In the Tshuvas Marshal, Siman Samach Daled, the Marshal writes that he is noyig not to say the pasuk of Ma Tovu. He starts the tefillah with the next pasuk, V'ani b'roiv chastecha, but he does not say the pasuk of Ma Tovu Oyalecha Yaakov, because since it was said by Bilam HaRasha, and the intention was for a klala, so even though it was Nepach Lebracha, but Lamaisa, to start the davening with something that was a Puranis, with something that was addressed, was said with the intention of klala, therefore we don't say this. It's a Peladika Marshal, because Lamaisa it was Nepach Lebracha. We see the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that it was Nepach Lebracha, Ma Tovu Oyalecha Yaakov, Mishkanaisecha Yisrael. Bilam didn't say what he intended to say. It was Nepach Lebracha. In addition to that, it's Torah's Moshe. It's the Torah Misinai was given. This is a pasuk in the Torah. So it's hard to say that that's a nusach of klala. That's a nusach of Puranas, because Bilam said it with an intention of klala. I told this over this Tshuvas Marshal. I remember many years ago, the first time I saw this was in Eretz Yisrael, and I was sitting in a taxi with my Rebbe, Rav Asher Arieli, and I told him over this Marshal, and he almost jumped out of his seat. It was nispal. Like, what does that mean? It's Torah, he said. It's a word of Torah. You're starting Ma Tovu, such a beautiful pasuk in the Torah. Ma Tovu. Yeah, Bilam had in mind to say a klala, but Lamaisa Hashem didn't let him say the klala. So what could be the problem with saying this pasuk? Lamaisa, that is the minig already from the Seder of Amram going to start the tefillah of Ma Tovu. That's in all the Siddurim, and that's definitely the minig Yisrael. I just want to add that I have 2 rayas looking around for rayas in the words that Bilam HaRasha meant leklala, but then it was Nepach Lebracha. Is that considered words of Puranis because of Bilam's intention or not? L'chayr, the minig seems to show that it's not called words of klala. So I have 2 rayas for that. L'chayra, one is from the Gemara in Brachas. The Gemara in Brachas Yud Beis Amid Beis says, Bikshu l'kvoya parshas Balak b'Kriyas Shema. The Chazal wanted to incorporate into our Kriyas Shema. We have the parsha of Shema, Vayim Shemaya, Vayomer. They wanted to incorporate also the parsha of Balak because it says the pasuk Karash Achav Ka'ari Uchalavim Miya Kimenu, which is a few psukim after the pasuk of Ma Tovu Oyalecha Yaakov. Why didn't Chazal do that? Mepishum Teireh because then Shema would just take too long. It's a tircha de tzibura. But it's mashma that we could have established that in Kriya Shema, if not for the fact that there was a tircha de tzibura. Why Bilam wanted to say a klala? Elamai, if it was nepach lebracha, and now it's a pasuk in the Torah, it has kedushas HaTorah to it, so that's not called Piranius, or else we wouldn't be included in Kriya Shema. So if it could have been included, if it was a havamina to include it in Kriya Shema, so then there's no problem to say it in the beginning of the davening, Ma Tovu. And in addition to that, and this could be even a stronger raya, it's from the Malchios that we say on Rosh Hashanah. The psukim of Malchios say, another pasuk that Bilam said, Lo hibit oven b'Yakov, v'lo ra amal b'Yisrael, Hashem aleikav imoi, usru as melech boy. Since it says melech, usru as melech boy, so we say it in the psukim of Malchios. So we wouldn't say a pasuk in Malchios if it was a pasuk of klala, if it was a pasuk of Puranis. How do I know that? That's a Beferish Mishnah. The Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah, Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, says, Ein mazkirin malchiyos zechronis v'shoifros shel Puranios. You don't just mention in malchiyos zechronis and shoifros any pasuk that has the expression of melech, or zikaron, or shofar. It's only if it has a positive mashmos, not if it has a negative mashmos. If you don't say shel Puranios, and still you say this pasuk that Bilam said, you see that that's not considered begeder Puranios. Of course not, because it was nepach lebracha, and it's a pasuk in the Torah. So if that's the case, we could comfortably say the pasuk of Matoivu Alecha Yaakov and leave Tzarachi and the Tshuvas Marshal. But Lamaisa, that's the minig of Rishainim, the minig of all the, like I said, the Siddurim, the oldest Siddurim, the newest Siddurim. Everybody starts with Matoivu Alecha Yaakov. Be'ikr when you come into a base Knesset, but Pashtus, even if a person is davening not in Shul. But that's the pasuk in Torah, and it's a pasuk that was Nepach Lebracha Matoivu Alecha Yaakov Mishkan Yisacha Yisrael, talking about the Bate Knesias and the Bate Midrashas, the places of Hashras Hashchina that we daven in every day. The second pasuk is not a pasuk in the Torah. Actually, the next 4 psukim are psukim in different places in Tehillim, but again along the same theme. Va'ani beroiv chastecha avoi veisecha eshtacha ve'el heichal kodshecha b'yirasecha. This is a pasuk in the very beginning of Tehillim, Kapitel Hey, pasuk Ches. The pasuk means Va'ani, and I beroiv chastecha avoi veisecha. I enter your bias, again referring to the Bate Knesias and Bate Midrashos, with the great chesed of Hashem. Eshtachava, I will bow down El Heichal Kodshecha, to your holy Heichal, to your holy house, your holy sanctuary. B'yirasecha, in awe of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Reishis Chachma, one of the Svarim HaKadoshim, the Reishis Chachma, has a sefer called Toitzah Chaim, and in Ois Kuf Nun Hey, he says that when we say every morning this pasuk, that we come B'Reiv Chastecha with the Chesed of Hashem, we are allowed to enter His house to daven. We should think that really we ourselves may not be deserving of this special schus to come to the Rebbeinu Shalom's house and to daven every single day. But the reason that we're able to have it is in the schus of Ois, in the schus of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's why we have the schus to be able to come to daven in the house of the Rebbeinu Shalom, because our avos were Avrohom, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And he says, "Kimevur b'Zayar HaKadosh Parashas Bereishis," like it's clear from the Zayar and Parashas Bereishis. And I looked around and found in the Zayar, in the Hakdama to Parashas Bereishis, where l'chayr, this is what the Reishis Chachma is referring to, where it says, "Va'ani b'roiv chastecha avoi beisecha da Avram." This is Avram. Eshtacha ve'el heichal kodshecha da Yitzchak. This is a reference to Yitzchak. B'yirasecha da Yaakov. So the Zohar HaKadosh says that it's hinted to in this pasuk, the 3 avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, meaning that we come to the Beis Hashem and Eshtacha ve'el heichal kodshecha in the schus of the avos. What does it taka mean? The Zohar doesn't explain why is there a hint to Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov in these words. So the Pashup Pshat seems to be Va'ani b'roiv chastecha avoi beisecha da Avram, because Avram is always hinted to with the midah of chesed, because the last pasuk in Micha, Parak Zayin Pasuk Chaf, says Titein Emes LeYaakov Chesed LaAvram. The midah of Avram was the midah of Chesed. So here, even though we're talking about the Chesed of Hashem, Va'ani b'roiv chasdecha, but that's a hint to Avram Avinu. Avei Beisecha is da Avram. Eshtacha ve'el heichal kodshecha is Yitzchak, because Yitzchak is always associated with the midah of Avodah. Yitzchak himself was a human carbon, so therefore Eshtachava, the greatest expression of Avodah, is Eshtachava, bowing down to the Rebbeinu Shalom. So da Yitzchak, that's a remes to Yitzchak. B'yirasecha would be Yaakov Avinu, because by Yaakov Avinu in the beginning of Parshas Vayetze it says Man Noira HaMokem Hazeh, that Yaakov Avinu expressed that this Mokem is Noira, is full of Yira, full of awe, and therefore B'yirasecha is a remes to Yaakov Avinu. So da Avram, da Yitzchak, da Yaakov, this is a remes to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, because it was in the schus of the avos that were able to come to the Rebbeinu Shalom's house and daven. And I remember telling this over to my father, Shlita, and my father told me that when he went to the shul of the Shach, in Europe, in his trips to Eastern Europe, in the Shul of Shach, on the wall, it says there a nusach that it looks like was the nusach of this tefillah in olden times. They added to the pasuk, and the nusach of the tefillah that's written on the wall in the Beis Knesses of the Shach is Va'ani b'roiv chastecha avei beisecha. It's added there, B'schus Avrohom shenikra Ish HaChesed. In the schus of Avrohom, who was called the Ish HaChesed. Like the Zohar is saying that it's in the schus of Avrohom, and specifically like the Pshat, like we're saying, because Avrohom was the Ish Chesed. Eshtachava el heichal kodshecha, B'schus Yitzchak, shenekar al gabe hamizbech b'makam kadosh. That Yitzchak was nekar, he himself was a carbon in a makam kadosh, so therefore I'm able to be Eshtachava el heichal kodshecha in the schus of Yitzchak. B'yirasecha, B'schus Yaakov, she'amar man noira hamakam hazeh. In the schus of Yaakov that said man noira, so it's mamish this pshat and this tefillah, the nusach like this is brought down in the Siddur of Rabbi Yaakov Emden as well. The Siddur is called Beis Yaakov. It seems that in certain places that was the nusach to add on to the pasuk. We don't say that. We say just the pasuk v'ani b'roiv chastecha avei veisecha eshtacha ve'elheichal kodshecha b'yirasecha. But in our minds we should think that we have the schus to come into a shul and daven for our needs and praise Hashem because we are children of Avram, which was the Midas HaChesed, Yitzchak, which was the Avodah, eshtacha ve'elheichal kodshecha, and Yaakov Avinu, which is represented in the word B'yirasecha. Then we continue. The third pasuk in Tovu is a pasuk in Tehillim Chavav, pasuk Ches. Hashem, ahavti ma'im beisecha. Again, talking about the bias of Hashem. Ahavti, I love the dwelling place of Hashem, the house that Hashem dwells in. U'mekayim mishkan kevaydecha, and the makayim that Hashem's glory resides. Makayim mishkan kevaydecha. So here we express our strong feelings of Ava towards a Beis HaKnesses and a Beis Medrash. The Pashup Pshat in the Pasuk is going on the Beis HaMikdash. When David HaMelech says, I love the Ma'ayin Beisecha, U'mekayim Mishkan Kavaydecha, the Mefarshim explain that it's going on the Beis HaMikdash. But in this tefillah, we have in mind, we're not talking about the Beis HaMikdash, we're talking about every morning when we say this in a Beis Knesses and Beis Medrash, and a makar to that is in the Gemara in Megillah, Daf Chof Tes Amud Aleph. The Gemara says that Abaya used to daven in the shul, but he used to learn at home. But then, after he thought about what David HaMelech said, "Ahavti ma'ayin beisecha u'makayim mishkan kevaydecha," he decided that he's going to learn in the Beis Knesses also. And that's today. Most people also, when they learn in the shul, they learn in the Beis Medrash. That's what Abaya says, because Ahavti ma'ayin beisecha. Abaya was well after the Churban Abayis. So you see from that Gemara in Megillah that this pasuk, even though the Pashup Pshat is referring to the Beis Hamikdash, but it's clearly also referring to the Batei Knesiyos and Batei Midrashos and Memela. When we come into the Beis Knesses every day, we talk about how we have that love, that avat of the Ma'ayin Beisecha, of the house of Hashem. L'maisa, I'll just be mitzayin. You could look at the Meshech Chachma in Parshas Lech Lecha, in Perek Yud Gimel Pasuk Dalid, where the Meshech Chachma has a beautiful pshat based on the Pashtei Dekra of this pasuk. That Ma'ayin Beisecha is referring to the Beis Hamikdash itself, and then the Mekayim Mishkan Kavaydecha is the Makam Hamikdash, even after it's destroyed, because there still is Kedushas Makam. The Meshech Chachma has a beautiful piece. That's all going Alpi Pashtei Dekra, that it's going on the Beis Hamikdash and the Makam Hamikdash. But in the morning, the kavana that we have when we say this pasuk should not be towards the Beis Hamikdash, but should be towards the shul that we're entering now. Ha'hafti ma'ayin beisecha u'makayim mishkan kavaydecha. The fourth pasuk that we say is really not a pasuk. It's va'ani eshtacha ve'echra evrecha lefnei Hashem oisi. This, if you notice, the words are familiar besides just from saying it in Tovu, but the pasuk in Tehillim Tzadi Hey, pasuk Vav, is a pasuk that we say in L'chun Ranana, very similar, but in the future and in Lashon Rabim. Boyu, let's come, nishtachave, v'nichra, v'nivrecha lefnei Hashem oiseinu. And here Chazal took the pasuk and switched it to a Lashon Yachid, v'ani eshtachave v'echra, evrecha lefnei Hashem oisi. So it's based on the pasuk clearly in L'chun Ranana, but this is something similar to what we spoke about in the Shemona Esrei Shiurim, where there's a pasuk in Yirmiyah that says, "Rifa'eni Hashem ve'ei rafei, hoishi'eni ve'ivashea ki sehila si'ata." That pasuk is a pasuk in Yirmiyah Yud Zayin, pasuk Yudalid, and we changed it. The Mesadri Atfilah, the Anshe Knesset Agdola, changed it to a Lashon Rabbim, "Rifa'enu Hashem ve'ei rafei." And we spoke about there's Rabbeinu Yoina, brought down in the Russian Megillah and the Tur. They all talk about how Chazal could change the nusach of the pasuk. But if it's not for reading a whole parsha, it's just bringing in a pasuk to bring a flowery lashon in a tefillah, so that you're allowed to do. And that's similarly what went on over here as well, that the Mesadri Atfilah took the pasuk in Tehillim and made it a lashon yachid, that each individual could say, V'ani eshtacha ve'echra, evrecha lefnei Hashem oisi, but it's clearly based on that pasuk in Tehillim. L'maisa, what does the pasuk mean? Hishtachava, Hachra, and Evracha are all lashonis of bowing down. And what's exactly the chiluk? You could look in the Radak, in that pasuk in Tehillim Taka, he helps us out. He says that nishtachava means shituach kol haguf ba'aretz. When a person is totally sprawled out on the floor, the way they used to do hishtachava, that's exactly the taich of hishtachava. The nivracha, he says, is kfifas haroish. Uktsas haguf, when a person bends his head a little bit and his upper body, like we say, v'anachnu kairim, when we say in Aleinu, so you bend down your head and a little bit your upper body, that's the lashon of nichra'a, and nivracha is a lashon of bending our knees. Kriyas habrikayim ala aretz, actually more than bending the knees, he says that it's to kneel on the ground, which they used to do as well. Rashi brings the pasuk in Chayesara, Rashi there in Tehillim brings the pasuk in Chayesara, v'yavrei chagmalim, that Eliezer made the camels kneel on the ground. So that's the lashon of Evracha. B'kitzah, so when we say V'ani Hishtachava, Ve'echra, Evracha Lefnei Hashem, I see we're including all different lashonis of bowing down. The lashonis of Hishtachava, full bowing down. Echra is bowing down a little bit with our roish and the ktsas haguf, and then Evracha is to bow down on our knees. But these are the lashonis to show that we're ready to have hachna, humility to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and to do the avodah to him, b'chol mini avodah, in all the different ways of bowing down. Then the last pasuk says something that doesn't have to do with the Beis HaKnesses per se, but this is a hakdama to tefillah. It sets the tone now for our tefillah, and that's a pasuk from Tehillim Samach Tes, pasuk Yud Daled, where it says Va'ani, David HaMelech says, Ava'ani tefilasi Hashem, tefilasi l'cha Hashem eis ratzain, that my tefillah to you should be in the most opportune time in the Eis Ratzon. Elikim b'rav chasdecha aneni, with your great chesed, answer me, be'emes yeshecha, with the truth of your Yeshua, the truth of your salvation. Rashi in Tehillim says that this pasuk, David HaMelech is saying, he's saying a bakasha, yehi eis tfilasi eis ratzon. The tefillah, sometimes it's at a very mesugal time that'll be answered, and sometimes not. So David HaMelech is asking that his tefillah should be in an eis ratzon. This is based on the Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi in Makkos, on Dav Zayin Amud Aleph, in the Dafim of the Yerushalmi, it's Perek Beis Halacha Vav. The Yerushalmi says, Rabbi Yosi ben Chalafta Omer, the Tana Rabbi Yosi ben Chalafta says, Itim hein letefillah. There are different times for tefillah. Amar David lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, David said to Hashem, Riboin ha'olamim, b'shah she'ani mispal lefanecha, the times that I choose to daven in front of you, tehei eis ratzon, they should be in eis ratzon. D'chsiv v'ani svilasi lecha Hashem eis ratzon. The Yerushalmi brings this pasuk. So it's clear that the sources from this Yerushalmi, that we're saying this in the beginning of our tefillah, in order to be ma'ir that this tefillah should be in Eis Ratzon in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's not just that there are some times that aren't Eis Ratzon. We could be ma'ir the Eis Ratzon, like we say in Avinu Malkeinu, Tehei Hasha Hazois Sha'as Rachamim Ve'Eis Ratzon Milfanecha. We're asking that this time should become an Eis Ratzon. So that's what we do when we daven in the beginning of davening. The Gemara in Brachas Tav Ches Amud Aleph says that when a tzibur davens, automatically it's an Eis Ratzon. The Gemara brings this pasuk to show that when it's a tefillah tzibur, that is always considered an Eis Ratzon. But Al Kopanim, when a person is davening, even within the tzibur, it seems that there's an inyan to be ma'oyer, that it should be an Eis Ratzon. And surely if he's davening be yechidus, which he needs extra power, extra schusim, so he's davening that this should be an Eis Ratzon. So this is our hakdama to tefillah as we come into the Beis Knesses. Ma tovu ayalecha Yaakov, which is a pasuk that was nepach lebracha. We talk about the beauty of the oil of the Mishkan Eisecha Yisrael, and then the 4 psukim in Tehillim. The second pasuk talks about Avei Beisecha, coming into the Beis Hashem and bowing down to Hashem b'yirasecha, with the schus of all 3 avos. And then Ahavti me'en Beisecha, how I love being in the Beis Hashem and the place of Mishkan Kaveidecha, the place of the Ashras Hashchina. I'm ready to do all types of bowing, all types of avodah, eshtacha ve'echra'a, and evracha lefnei Hashem I see. And then the final pasuk, which brings us to the davening itself, that the tefillah should be an Eis Ratzon in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Those are the kavanas that we should say when we have these very precious words in the beginning of davening in the tefillah of Ma Tovu.